All right, so welcome back to another episode of the Think Big, Act Bold podcast, where we focus on youth initiatives and people who are doing amazing things for the next generation. And I am happy to introduce my guest, Ricky Ventners of Success Journey Sports in Aberdeen. So long awaited. I know we've connected a few times,
yes.
And I wanted to bring up a few things. First off, I absolutely love the name. I live by like a motto of enjoy the journey, not the destination. And success has been, I think, defined wrong as this end point when it's really the journey. So I think that was the first thing where I'm like, success journey, this is perfect. And you recently opened up a location in Aberdeen, which is your first location, correct?
Yes, first location. Yeah.
And I'll let you share the story of how it started, because I was surprised how Success Journey started. And I just want to bring you on, bring awareness to what you're doing, the impact that you're already having for a lot of people. I think it's a short period of time since you've opened, and I've seen the videos and seen how many youth are in there. So if you'd like to share who you are, a little bit about your background, we can get started.
Well, thank you first and foremost for having me on the show. I'm really excited. I've known of your work and your husband's work for the last few years, and people always say the name, and I was like, okay, I got to meet this person. I met your husband first, and then we automatically started drawing a whole bunch of connections with people that we know.
Okay.
And he introduced me to you, and I was like, oh man, these are the people I need to be around. So this is such an honor to be on the show today.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Megan, for having me. And it's weird, I was talking about this before, like it's weird for me being on this side of the seat, because for the past 6-7 years, I'm the one interviewing other people on our podcast.
I didn't realize that it had been that long.
Yeah, it's been a while. And I'll say "are" a lot in this because me and my business partner, Marlon Madden, we're tied to the hip with this. We've been together. We've known each other. We're best friends for like 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was born and raised in New York. We met in New York as teenagers, and life just took us, and we've grown from here. We've done every venture that you can think of. We started off singing. That's my hidden gift to people that don't know me, especially in the Maryland area, some areas, is that music is my love, right? From playing instruments to singing. I was born on the night of a concert. My mother was at a concert. Her stomach started going crazy, kicking her and everything, and they rushed her to the hospital. And I was born that night.
That's a crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy story, and like amazing that you stuck with music to like follow through how it all started.
Yeah, that's my genesis. And so with Success Journey, you mentioned the name, and I started laughing a little bit because the way that name came up was so simple, right? So Marlon and myself, he went to the military, I went to undergraduate, got my bachelor's and master's in mechanical engineering. But prior to that, I spent a lot of time working with youth.
Okay.
So I'm a TRIO grad. TRIO, for those that don't know, is an organization that works at a lot of universities, partnering with universities for college readiness, right?
Okay.
So the one I was part of was Upward Bound. So I started Upward Bound when I was 8th grade, and by the time, or 9th grade, and by the time I was getting ready to graduate, I actually started working as a mentor, what they call a tutor counselor, when I was about to graduate. And every summer I was there on the campus. Every summer I'm working with students. Every summer I'm working with high schoolers. So now I'm just recently graduating, but yet still working with high schoolers. And it's funny because years later, like some high schoolers would hit me up on Instagram and be like, yo, I didn't know we were that so close to the age. Yeah, dude, I just graduated 2 years before you did. But it's always been a passion of mine, right? But I went into engineering world, and in the engineering world, it was something that I was good at. It wasn't something I was passionate about, but it's something that I found that I can, make some money and, enjoy it. I like creating things, solving problems, and I stayed in that world for a little while, but I still always had that pull. I wanted to work with youth, right? So I found a little niche in the area of I'll be honest with you, so I'm in my engineering career, I've only seen 2 other engineers that I worked with in my companies that were black.
Okay.
That was it. And I'm just like, man, where are all the black engineers at? So I'm going, and I moved from New York, Connecticut area down to Maryland, and I thought it was going to be completely different. I was like, oh man, I'm going to the South, I'm going to see a lot more. Still, maybe one or two. And I'm sitting there like, what in the world is going on in this industry? Like, because for me, both of my parents were tech enthusiasts, right?
Okay.
So they were in the tech world. They worked for the IBMs, Philips Healthcare Systems, always bringing their technology home, circuit boards. I'm watching them work on it at night and putting circuit boards together. I'm staying up. My dad was an x-ray technician, so he's bringing all his equipment home. So that's what I was surrounded with. That's what I was exposed to, right?
Yeah.
So both my parents doing that was the norm for me. So now when I'm not seeing other kids that look like me doing it, I'm just like, what in the world is happening here? So that was my first launch into like just really entrepreneurship. I said, is there a way that I can just go and bring awareness to what we call the STEM industry?
Yeah.
Right? The science, technology, engineering, math, right? And I started a program called Inventors, right? It was a nonprofit down in Baltimore. It had some great guys that were working with me. And we would bring students in every week, and we'll expose them to different aspects of engineering, right? We'll have speakers come in and all that kind of stuff. This is 10 plus 2 years ago. And it got to the point where I was like, I went to an event, and the program was struggling to raise money.
Okay.
And I was like, man, here I am, I'm coming in to just speak. Like, I'm not bringing anything else but just coming to speak. And speaking is great, you know. I was doing keynote speaking. I was traveling all around doing that stuff. It was great, but then something inside of me is like, I don't just want to speak anymore. I want to be able to walk away leaving something that's tangible for them, right? And so that really just really sparked myself. It's like, yo, I got to improve myself. I got to put myself in a situation economically so that I can send a check back. Not just them paying me to come and speak, but hey, you need a donation to your program? Boom, here's $20,000, whatever. That's what's in my head to do. So with that, I started my first podcast. And the first podcast was called The STEM Dialogue. Okay. Me and my good buddy, Ian Ferguson, and he was a mentee of mine. And he was in the industry. He was like, Rick, we got to really do this. So we started our podcast. But it's so funny because you see people podcasting now. They have all the equipment, all the lights, all that stuff. We have none of that. I had a recorder in my house. I hooked up my phone to the recorder. He was on the other end of the line, and we called the person that we interviewed. And that was our podcast, right? And we ran tons of episodes, talked to engineers from all around the world, scientists, all those different things, and it was great. But I kind of got exhausted. Yeah. I was doing a lot. I was working full time, doing a podcast. Got exhausted. I had my little boys growing up, and I was like, let me pull back a little bit. And right around the time I pulled back, Marlon, my partner, he moved back into the area, and we're sitting down in my living room. I remember this day, and I'm going back to the whole story of success journey, right? And sorry it took so long to get there.
No, you're fine.
So we're talking about what's going on in the world around success. And we also often have conversations where it's frustrating seeing things that are portrayed that are false, right? So it was a big boom on Instagram at a time where people had the Rolls Royce, the Corvettes, the Porsches, and all that kind of stuff. And it was like, this is what success looks like. At the same time, they were buying followers. Right? Yep. So you had a person that had 500,000 followers, the blue check and all that kind of stuff, and then they're in their nice suit. And this is before AI, so you couldn't really fake the picture. You had to go actually invest time to go take a picture of something that wasn't fake. Yeah. That was something that was fake, right? Yeah. This is crazy. And we're like, man, what is going on here, right? And people are like, oh man, I got to do this. I want to be able to do this. I want to do this. I want to do that. And we're like, man, that's not success, right? And so many people are missing the story behind what success really is, right? So we said, man, we got to come up with a podcast. And I'm saying to myself like, dude, I don't want to do another podcast, man. I just finished with a podcast. I don't want to do another podcast. And he's like, oh man, we got to do a podcast, man. We got to do a podcast. And I was just like, I was sitting there. I was like, man, what do we call it, man? What do we call it? And I was like, we want to talk about success. We want to talk about the behind the scenes journey. I was like, Success Journey Show. And that's it. So back in 2018, 2017, we launched that. And we had an opportunity to talk to people from all around the world, from Australia to Europe to Africa to Canada to, I mean, everywhere you can think of, all over I think we interviewed someone from every state in the United States. And it was just a phenomenal experience, but the whole time it was shaping us, right? So not only did we realize that, hey, now we're presenting to the world that success is in the journey, not the destination. How does that look for what we're doing in our lives, and how does it motivate us even more as we're growing, right? And so I can keep going, but that's how the success journey name started. And everything you see from birth, from success journey, that's the origin of it.
And it's amazing the routes that you went, because I would never think, and you may not have thought when you started Success Journey that it would go into sports and into your own location. And then I know you have like a mental health aspect of it, and you're bringing in so many other partnerships and things to just grow it faster and grow it just to have more of an impact in it. So what inside of you decided, like, hey, I'm the person to do this. I'm the one that has the capacity to do it, because you've already explained capacity isn't a lot that you have, and you still found a way to really make this happen. And I think a lot of people struggle with idea to execution because self-doubt hits, and they're like, okay, I have this great idea, it's going to be amazing, I'm going to travel and help kids, or I'm going to travel and help, whatever demographic and whatever area that they're in, but then something in their head says they're not the right person for it. So I admire the people like you that have it in their heart to say, like, hey, I'm the person for this, and I'm going to execute it. So what made you decide that you were the person to bring this to life?
That's a good question, very good question. And as you're asking that question, I'm in my mind is saying, I'm not going to lie and say that I don't have those self-doubt and issues even today. Right? There'll be multiple days I'm like, man, can we really make this happen? Right? I'm a big dreamer, right? I'm very much of an optimistic person that sometimes someone say maybe too big, right?
Yeah.
But that's a space I live in, and I quickly try to think about like where that kind of derived from, and I'll give a little snippet of this aspect of it. So I was a chronic asthmatic. My whole life, right? Multiple times, lungs collapse. For those people who don't know what that is, like you're not breathing on your own. You have to, a machine has to, they had to hook me up to ventilator machines, incubator machines, all that kind of stuff, just so I can breathe. And I'm just not talking about as a kid, I'm talking about using it as an adult, right? And I remember the very last time that I had a very serious episode. I was 21 years old. I was getting ready to start the spring semester of my final year in college. And it was right after the holiday break, and I ended up in the hospital, right? And so I'm in the hospital, and in times past, I've gone through the episode doing well, and then being sick, doing well, and being sick, doing well, and being sick. But this time just felt different, and it felt different in a way to where the doctors came into the room and told my mother that, hey, there's nothing else we can do for him. We don't know what to do. So I'm sitting there 21 years old, getting ready to graduate from college, be the first one in my family to graduate from college. I'm the oldest sibling in my household. So there's a lot of firsts that get ready to happen. I'm on the brink of happening. I'm sitting here in a hospital dealing with a disease that I can't control. People are like, oh man, what triggers your asthma? You got to control the triggers. I'm like, I have every trigger. Like I can do everything right, and then something goes off and it throws my whole system off, right? And so I'm sitting there in a hospital bed, and I'm just like, I gave up. I remember telling my mom, I'm like, yo, I'm done. Like, I don't, because I was looking at it as like, man, I don't want to keep getting better than getting worse again.
Yeah. I
don't want to go through the ups and downs anymore, right? Now, mind you, I did not plan to talk about none of this stuff on this podcast, right? Today. But I probably, it all ties, right? Mind you, my sister, which was 2 years older than me, died probably at that point 10 years prior to that from the same disease of asthma, right? And I remember walking in the hospital and her being on the stretcher, pretty much passed away, right? So I'm sitting here now. I'm like, yo, I don't want to go through this anymore. I'm done. I don't have the fight anymore. And I remember a good friend of our family. She gave me a bottle of water, like this simple bottle of water, just like this.
Yeah.
And she said, drink it. My mom said, drink the water, drink the water. I'm like, I'm hooked up to an IV. I got medication flowing through me. Why the heck am I drinking water?
Yeah, who cares?
yeah. I'm only drinking water right now, right? I drank the bottle of water. I coughed. And my whole airways opened right up. The doctors came back in the room and said, what just happened in here?
Chills.
and I'm sitting there on the bed and I'm just like, okay, there's something for me in this world. I don't know what it is, but there's something for me. So going back to your question, as in saying, how did I know I was the one? I look at every situation I'm in life as in now, as in I just got to give everything I have. Because I've been on that point where I was ready to give up everything.
Yeah.
So now, so when people say, oh, you must be tired, you must be exhausted, you must be, it must be overwhelming, it must be a lot. It's like, yo, listen, I know what it feels like to be right at that break and life is getting ready to be done. So there's no sense of overwhelming for me. Yeah, sometimes I get overwhelmed, sometimes I get, but it's like, I always compare it back to being on that bed, like where I was going to give up everything, right? And so with being, I've always been a person that executed, because that's what my parents, I always bring back to my parents. That's what my parents did. That's what I saw them do. My mother, she's from this point, I mean, even now, she's in her 60s and she's operating and managing a campground. I'm like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be slowing down. Like, and every time I call her, she's doing something different. Like, I go to their house and there's more things, new projects she's doing and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, what is going on? She's just an energizer bunny. And so I look at her, I'm like, man, that's me. And my wife would tell me, like, yeah, you're just like your mother, man. You just keep moving. You can't stop. And I was like, all right, I got it naturally. So when projects and things like this come up, and it's just like, and like even for the inspiration of me and my business partner Marlon, we've always been in that space where we always are in that creative lane, always getting things done, like always executing, always getting things done. He has a military background now, so it's even more intense, right? So it's just like having that accountability to each other, but also belief in each other, like, whatever we touch, man, let's just give it everything we have. And I'm not saying we're doing that knowing that we know what the end solution is going to be.
Right.
I don't know. We walked into the complex that we have now, and it was an empty room. We brought people into that room, and they couldn't see what we wanted to do. And I'm telling them, I'm going to say, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, that. Yeah, it's going to be great here. And they're looking around like,
you're crazy, basically.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
Yeah.
But it's like, now you look at, like I told you, my background was engineering and construction, my background. So I'm tapping in on all that experience, and I can see something that people can't see. Marlon's the same way. He does a lot of real estate, flipping a lot of homes. So we can see stuff that people can't see. So now when we have this blank canvas, it's not blank to us. It's just possibilities.
Yeah.
Yes, right? So, and then from that, to summarize the answer, is just like really just being able to not even, I won't even say trusting in my abilities or trusting that I'm the right one, but just being in that moment and just giving that moment whatever it requires.
I think it's amazing. Another lesson I took from your story is it was the most simplest thing that got you through the hardest time. A bottle of water. So like so many people are one simple step away from this crazy life that's just sitting in their head, because I think everybody that I talk to on the podcast, one of the first things is like, hey, you have to be okay with being told you're crazy. My family thinks I'm nuts, and like at first it hurt my feelings. I'm like, why can't you see it? And when I do the vision board events with the youth, I tell them, I'm like, hey, I want to warn you ahead of time. Like, we're getting into a space that you may not get into at home, that you may not get into in your classes. We're getting into a space where you're dreaming again. And have you ever woke up from a dream and tried to explain it to the person sitting next to you? It doesn't matter. You could say, man, this big purple dog was running. Like, you look crazy. And I was like, it's going to be the same thing with your goals. It's going to be the same thing as you're growing things. And funny off-topic story, I actually started at UMBC as a mechanical engineer.
Oh wow, okay.
Chem 101 took me out.
Oh man, yeah.
I switched.
I only made it to 102, so
yeah, I did. After 3 semesters of Chem 101, I finally passed, and then I was like, you know what? It's not for me. I actually changed to social work, which was more fitting.
Yeah.
And then I got the, it's going to make no money, it's going to make no money, it's going to make no money, but I love the class. So then I was like, okay, it's going to make no money. Let me switch to business. Then at least I can do something with it. So when you brought up mechanical engineering, I'm like, oh, not that class. But I had an internship at APG.
Okay.
So it was the perfect road. And for your experience, I had a similar experience. I was in the internship, it was 8 of us. And out of the 8, I was the only woman. And that meant that when we were doing testing, and the testing was fun, all the guys went. And then they brought back the data, and I had to enter the data. And I sat at a desk and entered data, and entered data, and entered data, until my boss, who was the mechanical engineering department, put me in a different department for a project. It ended up being Harvard Vote, so the school systems were letting the kids do mock voting. So I helped build that program out. But I'm like, it wasn't anything that I was supposed to be doing. So after that, I ended up leaving, and of course that was upsetting to my family. Like, oh, we had this road built for you, but no one understood. Where it was like, I'm sure you had some of the same feelings. Where it was like, hey, I get that I'm giving myself this opportunity, but it's lonely. And you can't help but feel left out or different, like having to work harder to prove yourself, when it's like, I'm no different. Like, I'm doing the classes, I'm doing this, and you're making me build spreadsheets.
Oh man, I as you're saying that, I'm happy that, for your instance, that you got that experience early, because a lot of people stay in their corporate careers thinking that it's going to get better, and many times it doesn't. It just doesn't. And I hate to say it, it's one of those things where I've experienced it myself, right? You do so well, attaboys, all that kind of stuff, but then somewhere it's just this, they call it a glass ceiling. And I never wanted to admit that. My whole career, I was like, man, just do your best, just be the best. And it wasn't called, nah.
And I do think the experiences build me up as a person. So all of the kickback that I got, it was in my college years, to where it's like, once I got into corporate America, I was a little bit stronger. I was a little bit more confident in my feelings and because me leaving that job, because at that point, my parents, I wanted them happy with me. So me leaving there, I couldn't even tell them I left. And it took me a while to say, like, hey, and I was working 2 jobs, so I was never home anyway, so no one really noticed. I just picked up more hours at the other job. And once I told them, it was, why would you do that? You don't understand. I'm like, I was crying. Like, I was leaving work crying because I didn't understand, why can't I go test the tank? Why I get to read all the data and see everything that they did and hear the conversations, and I'm behind a desk. They're not entering their own data. So it was hard, and it was like one of my first early on harder decisions, because I was like, I can't, mechanical engineering, I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to be the income earner of the family. I'm going to change the dynamic. And it didn't work that way, but it worked out, in my opinion, way better, because
it always
purpose
does.
is stronger than...
Exactly. And that's the thing. I fought it for years. I fought it for years, and I'm purposely being very careful at how I shape this, right? Because you go through those experiences, and I have so many experiences where there were the subtle things that people on the outside probably wouldn't really recognize. But for one example, you have someone come in, you've been in a company for years, and you're doing things for them, and then someone else comes in that's younger, that's and they're like, oh, we're going to make you an elevated position from what I was. And I was like, but I've been actually I've been doing what you're elevating them to, but you haven't given me the, so those things happen so many times, but I always had that thing of I'm gonna keep fighting. And I remember the day when I said I'm not fighting anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And I just got chills myself because this is the first time I'm drawing that correlation to when I was sitting in that hospital bed. I said I don't want to fight anymore. And I remember having a conversation with the organization. I said, yo, I'm not fighting anymore. I know what I can do. I know the value I can bring.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to pursue who I am, right? But you know that can get scary, right?
Yeah.
So because now, up to that point, I felt like I had somewhat of a roadmap. Well, now I'm thinking clearly, it wasn't never a roadmap, right? But you had some type of thing that you was anchored to.
You felt like you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I did. I knew
like
where I was going.
You were going to go.
Yep.
Like you saw people in front of you, and you was like, oh, I can emulate that, or I can do that, like, right? But when you make that decision of saying, you know what, I'm going to pursue and 100% pour into who I am unapologetically, man, sometimes that's when you're waking up in the middle of the night like, what the heck am I doing? Where am I going? What's happening tomorrow? What am I going to do today? Right? But as what I realize is that that's just the refining in you and all those experiences, like you mentioned, like it shapes you to who you are, and all those experiences, they build up that character so that you can handle the things that are coming next.
Yeah.
Like everything I do right now, it has been established years ago, but I've fully accepted being where I am right now. Now, not to say I know everything, I definitely don't know everything, but my inquisitive spirit of trying to figure things out, I learned that years ago. So now when I'm doing business, I got to figure something out. It's like, oh, let's just figure it out.
Yep.
Right? And I didn't know that. I thought that you get to the point where you're just super smart and you know how everything works. And I remember going to one of my supervisor's office one time. I had a deep question for him. I said, hey, I need to understand how to do this. He was like, all right, let's figure it out. And
wait, you don't know?
Yeah. I'm like, first I'm like, you don't know. And then he's like, oh, let's pull up. So I'm thinking he's going to pull up a code book or something like that. He goes to Google. And I'm just like, what the heck?
I could have did that.
But having the knowledge to know that, how do you find those resources to get the information that you need? That just opened up the whole thing for me. It's like, you don't have to know it all. You just got to know where to find the information or who to ask to get the information. It's not about, you don't have to carry that burden of having it all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I want to talk about how you transitioned into sports. And a big reason why I wanted to connect with you was last year I was working to bring an international camp to specifically Edgewood. And this is a camp that's been going on for 10 years in Jamaica, Canada, never been in the US. So I'm like, okay, it's all established. I literally just need a location. So in my brain, like everything's figure outable. So like location should be easy. The camp never happened because of location. And what that taught me in that 4-month journey that I spent trying to bring this camp to life, and it will be coming in the future. But what I learned was there are buildings in this county that are meant for the youth. They're meant for the community, but yet we're not allowed to have access to them. I was actually asked to bring a camp to a certain location because the year before, they didn't have one summer camp, but yet they're a rec center. So you're telling me in my community, there's an open rec center, a huge rec center, and you didn't have one summer camp, not STEM, and they have computers, they have everything, not sports, not even like sewing or paint, like there was nothing in there. So I was like, I'm that type of person where I'm like, here I come, I will fix it, I will figure out a camp. And I did it, and I'm like, okay, perfect, we're gonna bring it in. And then it could have happened if I was willing to pay an hourly rate for a week. And that wasn't the case. So when I saw Success Journey Sports open up, specifically the location, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you. Like, I'm not the only person that sees that the complaints that a lot of people have about the youth are fixable. So if you want your phones and tablets and all to babysit them, that's fine. That's how people parent their own. But there's opportunities to where it can be in sports. And what I've learned through my partnerships with the sports, so Share the Vision has been partnered with like Lennox Lewis boxing camp, and then Emmanuel Quigley NBA camp, which is weird to me because vision boards I looked at as a little more feminine, it would be easy to go to a Girl Scout troop or something like that.
Correct.
I underestimated the power it was going to have in male-dominated sports. So I'm looking at Success Journey Sports. I'm like, oh, great. The kids get to go there. They get to learn. And then you throw in this other aspect of, I was trying to fill a void of, hey, sports camps specifically shouldn't be just sports. Yeah. Because for me, while the activity, while keeping them active, and while the training is greatly important, what is the percentage rate of people taking this professional or even like college scholarship level? And if they don't, how are we supporting these kids mentally? Yeah. Because if your parents and your family and your surroundings are like, hey, you're going to be the next NBA player, you're going to get a college degree, you're going to go to college, you're going to be on a full ride, you're going to be basketball, you're going to be football, and that doesn't, the feeling I had when I lost my federal job and disappointed my family, I don't want any kid to have to experience that. And I think a lot of times society does that with sports. Yeah. So when I saw some of like the things that you offer, I was like, oh, they get it. Where your training's impeccable. I was telling Kev, I was like, I may have to schedule an appointment and see if I can sneak in for because I was like, I want to run faster and jump high. Like, I don't need to play basketball, but I could use somebody to boss me around a little bit. And then the mental health aspect, and then the open runs, which I think is amazing because you're giving kids a space to go. In this area, a lot of people would go to the Y. Well, the Y picks and chooses when they feel like having certain people in the gym. And they'll put empty pickleball event on instead of having kids that are like at the door with their basketballs in. And you've changed that. So how did, I know that was really long-winded, but how did it journey into Success Journey Sports and then you opening the location and providing the resources that you are?
And all right, so great question. And I'm sitting here like, man, how do I condense this down? Everything is like people don't understand when you see something that has manifested right there. There's so much that goes into it. There's none of these quick fixes that people have. Like if you would have asked me 2 years ago, no, it's like 4 or 5 years ago, like we'll be here right now, I would be like, how did that happen, right? So how we got into the sports world, all right? Well, first, let me just paint the narrative here. Success Journey Sports has nothing to do with sports. And people are like, that's weird. Like, what do you mean it has nothing to do with sports? You have some of the best trainers in there, which we have the best trainers in Hartford County in there. I'll put that on record. I said I don't look at the camera, but I'll look at the camera for that, right? We have the best trainers in Hartford County, okay? We have a great facility for people to use sports. One statistic that haunted me, right, around sports was not only the low percentage of kids that are able to go to that next level, but also if you look at, I'm always looking, like I said, from the engineering, looking at how many people look like me in engineering, right? Very low percentage, right? I look at the collegiate level, and you go D1, let's say pick basketball. If you look up right now, go to ChatGPT, go to Google, wherever you want to go, and you say, what's the percentage of black students in D1 sports and basketball? The percentage is low.
Really?
It's like in the 30s to 40%. Now, I would have never thought that.
No. At
all right? And if someone want to fact check me, they go ahead and do that, but I tell you what, the percentage is low, right? So now I'm thinking about, all right, well, this percentage is low, that's okay. What's going on with that other 60 to 70% of people that are either white or whatever it may be, right? Well, they're not black students. But then you look at the professional level, especially in basketball, you have more black athletes. Right? So something like, it doesn't add up to me, like what's going on here, right? What are those other guys that are in D1 sports in basketball that are 60 to 70% of the population, what are they doing with basketball. And I started looking, and I'm like, going back to my corporate world, and I was like, wait a minute, that CEO did say he played at this university. That CEO did say he played football over here. That CEO did say he played basketball over here. That CEO, yeah, he's 6'7". He said he played. I was like, yo, they got the answer right there. They're going to these programs not just for sports, but for life. And I said, we had it, the African American culture, black culture, had it, and minority culture just had it twisted where it's like, oh, I'm trying to get to that level, and so that I can get to professional. And you know the percentage of getting there is very slim. So when you don't get there, you have nothing else to fall back on, because your whole time you're concentrating on getting there. Versus the 60 to 70% of the people that are there, they're doing it because they're learning skills on how to be great leaders. They're learning skills how to organize teams. They're learning skills of consistency and diligence, right? And they're applying it now to their family businesses. So I said, okay, something has to happen with this in the overall scheme of things. Now, I celebrate every kid that makes it to that level and then makes it to the professional level. And that's why we have the tools there to help them get there.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm not going to be naive to think that everyone that comes to my gym is going to the league.
Right.
It's not going to happen, right? But what I can get them with my resources and my skill set is I can get them on a trajectory where they can have a very successful life and a career. That career actually doesn't even have to be separated from sports. It can be part of sports, right? It can be part of where, hey, like for engineering, I did engineering, and I tell everybody I engineered HVAC systems for every type of building you can think of. When I say that, at schools, elementary schools, K through high schools, universities, to museums, to hospitals, to government buildings, to other municipal buildings, every type of office building, corporate buildings. The only thing I did not design to was a stadium.
Wow.
And I've always, in the back of my mind, there was one guy I worked with, he actually left the firm for a year and started working on stadiums. And I always was like, man, that would have been amazing to work on stadiums. Why? Not because I like engineering, but because I like sports.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, man, what if I can create that excitement for someone that wants to go into engineering, and I can see that they have that potential in there, but they also love sports. Like, hey, just because you're not in the field, just because you're not in the court, doesn't mean you can't be connected to it. So every single day you can be working with a team, but just in a different capacity, right? So that's what Success Journey Sports has. That's the purpose of Success Journey Sports. And we have a society that focuses on, we say mental health, we actually call it mental toughness, right? Because everyone say mental health and it's that negative connotation, like, oh, something wrong with you. Like, oh man, you need help, you need support, you need no, we're gonna call it mental toughness, because we're gonna help. We all know that we need support mentally, so we're gonna help cultivate that toughness that you need through support, through therapists, through mentorship, right? So that you're a full person as much as you can be with the support that you receive, right? So we have those components, but my technology background and my operation eyesight kind of got us into this lane of sports, right? So Marlon and myself, right? I tell you both my stories with him, right? His son got selected to a camp, AAU Select Tour camp, and we went there. And prior to that, a good buddy of mine, he's a trainer, Chris Crump, right? He's out of Atlanta. You guys may know him, actually. He's actually tied to that whole circle with David Shannon and all those guys. All close friends.
The name sounded familiar.
Yeah, all good close friends, man. With Jeremy Anderson and all those guys, Eric Thomas. And I'm not doing that to name job. We'll be on the phone at 6 o'clock in the morning on a prayer line. Like, that's how close how close those guys are, man. Very good, close friends of mine. But Chris Crump called me one day and said, Rick, I'm doing training and I just can't get the scheduling right. And I have this app and it's just not working. So we started working through, like, oh man, let's try to figure it out. And we started figuring some things out, right? And it was like, man, this got exciting. It was like, man, this is exciting. We can maybe help more people doing this, right? And we went to this AAU Select Tour camp, and we're down there in Virginia. A good buddy of our Scott down there that helps run that camp. He said, man, we're watching. It's just so, like, all over the place. And we already told them this is like, it's like, man, like people got scanned. They coming in, I know the schedule, you gotta take the schedule on the wall, all that kind of stuff. Like, dude, we gotta digitize this, man. And so we digitized that first application around building camps and organizing camps, and parents can have it right in their phone, right? So we built that, and we said, man, we need to call this app something. The name of the app is Success Journey Sports. So we're actually in the third iteration of developing the app that we're going to release publicly, and we're hoping that's done within the next 4 to 6 months. But that's where everything kind of derives. So the physical building that's here in Aberdeen is actually the app that we have digital. And the whole purpose of the app is to identify strengths and weaknesses of players. Coaches can see that, bring feedback to the players, because we got tired of sending our kids to trainers and trainers say, oh, they're doing a great job.
Yeah. Compared to what?
Yeah, what does that mean? Yeah, doing a great job. Oh yeah, he's doing this. He can do this now. Oh yeah, okay. No, I want to see, as a parent, I want to see something. Where does he need to improve? Where is he doing well? All those different things. So now that's what our app does. It allows them to be able to see that right in their hand, coach feedback and things of that nature, build a whole social platform where people can engage with each other in a pure way around sports. And so we've been working on that application. Like I said, now it's been 4 years it's been in development.
Okay.
And this building came along, and we're like, we've been going up to Spooky Nook up in Lancaster. We want to do this grand building of 5 courts and want to bring it to Harford County. And we look in so many different places for the past 3 years. And a good friend of mine said, hey, why don't you just go check in there real quick? We walked in there, and the rest is history. So that's how we got into sports, from my good friend Chris Crump calling me that he played internationally, the national team for Bermuda. He's the one that kind of got us diving into sports, and then with the mixture of our kids being in it, it all kind of just morphed into the sports space. Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
So we went from podcast to app, plus the location, and then the location, what a great even like testing ground for the app, and gives you that one-on-one to where you can really track and really show the proof behind it.
Yeah.
When you're going into sports, if you say you switch trainers or say you switch teams, you might be good, but you're only good based on your surroundings.
Correct.
But you don't know how good they really could be because you don't know the past and.
Correct. So that's
incredible.
That's where the heart of it came from, and mixture with everything that I've done in the past with working with youth and wanted to really cultivate growth in youth. Combining the two was easy at that point, and it just felt natural at that point where we didn't even think about it. It was just like, this is just what we do. I coach as well.
Okay.
So working with a lot of kids that I coach with, just being really intimate with their families and just knowing the journey that a lot of these young men are on, right? And it's just like, we need a space. There's nothing in Harford County. My youngest son, he plays basketball. He's really passionate about it. I was taking him down to Laurel to train 2-3 nights a week. We'll get down there, spend two hours, not get back until 10 o'clock at night on a school night.
Yeah.
And, I told him, hey, as long as his grade stays up, we'll keep doing it. But that's taxing on anybody.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, why can't we find that here in Harford County? Right? And why can't we, provide it to the point where we're competing at the highest level with all the other areas, the Baltimore County, the Baltimore cities, and things of that nature, right? Because we don't want to keep having to drive down to the city to get trained. Like, why can't we have it here?
Yeah.
Right? So, like I said, we have the best trainer. Gary Neal's in there with us, right? And Gary Neal, native to the area, it can't get any higher than that. In terms of exposure to, NBA, Leah Contagio, state champion, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to build up the courage to reach out to Leah and be like,
oh man, yeah.
I was like,
she will too.
Mentally, I have to be there.
She
once
will.
I'm in, I'm in.
She'll get it going, right? So we have, and there's other people coming on board, right? And we have, it also created a space for opportunities for good friends of mine, like Chris Pappas. Right, he's been training in this area for years, and I met him years ago training my son, And it was just his journey and trying to find a space and working in a space, and it's fun where he'd be consistent. And I was like, Chris, man, I got something going. First person I called, like, hey, come on, let's work together and let's make this thing happen. So, like I said, I'm trying to build a hub for the best trainers to offer the best training to our youth. There's no competition. There's no whatchamacallit. We're not building an AAU program. We're not building a soccer team. We're not building that's not what we're doing. We're building a resource for kids to come in and become better. And then you go off to your team and you highlight how great you are, and now you're competing at the highest level.
Yeah. I think what I admire about it most is there's no egos involved. No. There's nothing where it's like, I mean, clearly you can figure out a whole lot of stuff, just you.
Yeah.
And you partner and you bring in people and you respect people's talents to where now it's growing, you know, your role, you kind of respect it, and I'm sure your partner has his roles, and then any kind of loose ends, you could train. You've been around enough, but why take that on when you can bring someone in to do it? And the same with the mental health, where you brought up like the mental toughness. Mental health has a stigma, and it's, oh, well, if you have a mental health problem, okay, you're labeled with an IEP at school. You're labeled with a medication from your doctor. You're labeled with the person that has to go see a therapist. And now they'll have therapy sessions in school to where the other kids know when you're being pulled out of a session to go to your therapist. These labels, while we're helping these kids, you're also hurting them. Because imagine a kid, and I recently started working with Catholic Charities in their behavioral youth center, and these kids are coming into schools and, you know, trying to do their best, but at the end of the day, there's so many people who know your labels. And whether it's ADHD, ADD, or, you know, more severe, and it's like, how are these kids expected to grow? A lot of them are being diagnosed at elementary school level. So it's, oh, he's just like that. He's just like, well, he's really not. And the mental toughness, I think, reframing it to show like, hey, do you want bigger biceps? Work the muscle. Do you want a strong mind? Work the muscle.
Exactly.
And
that's across the board.
And I think that's amazing. And amazing just the change of just changing that one word. Takes out, like, now, like, I want to be tough. Okay, well, we're going to do this exercise. And while it may be a form of therapy, to them it's exercise.
Exactly. You nailed it. And one of our partners I didn't even mention, J.R. Clark. You had him on the show a little while back. And so he brings that awesome dynamic of being in that space, working with a lot of people in different populations, especially also being native to the area. Right? And that was one key thing for us. How do we bring people in that are connected? Because I'm not from Maryland. You know, my family, we moved here 13 years ago. I had family in the area, but I'm not natively from here. But I said I'm not going to be naive to think that I'm just going to start pulling people in. I want people that people are connected to, right? That have a passion for doing different things, right? So one thing that we are extremely intentional with is, you know, erasing the stigma of, you know, people being less than, right? And we're careful with it because some people do need more help than others. And that's obvious, and that's something we don't want to neglect, right? But also, I don't want someone to feel as though they're left out because of disadvantage they may have, right? So that's why we changed to mental toughness, but also in our programming, you will never know in our gym where anybody sits. And that's how we want it. Everyone's equal coming in here. Everyone gets the same opportunities coming in here, right? And we get the same amount of effort, if not more, right, to those that are interested in being mentally tough and growing. And that's the only requirement that we're trying to establish. Like, hey, there's a group of kids in here that want to go to the next level in life. There's a group of kids in here that they haven't been exposed to different things, so they want to be exposed to those different things. So let's take them to a field trip to a college or whatever it may be, right? There's a group of kids in here that, you know, maybe want to learn a little bit more about becoming a referee in the NBA. We have a pathway for that as well. right? And all these different things. So it's not, we eliminate all the, oh man, he may need more support than him or that. No. How do we make sure that everyone is getting the support that they need and grow into the level and the potential that they can achieve in life?
Yeah, and then I like my brain went right to, and then having the app on the back end, so the paths that they're interested in, and if the path changes, and kind of how you can support it and what resources are needed, which is amazing. And I think your location brings together not only the youth but the trainers, the community. I know you've done community events already. And I think, was it backpack?
Back to school.
Yeah. And just seeing like the vendors set up there, and I saw the pictures, and it was like, man, this is what's needed. Because I think a lot of times, what I'm learning just being in the rooms that I am with the Share the Vision initiative, a lot of these kids just want to feel a little bit more love. A lot of them, and especially the ones that are acting out, it's usually because there's not attention. And the attention, and it's of course not to fault any parent, because majority of parents right now are in survival mode, and it's not getting better.
You said it.
So if I'm in survival mode, like we have 3 kids, how can I even put energy into one kid to make them believe in themselves? I think it does involve the community of, hey, parents, we're not taught to ask for help. We're taught the opposite. Figure it out. So the chances of a parent coming to anyone with any kind of community initiative when they really need the help, like before they're all the way at the bottom, is not likely. So if we build these environments to where, okay, a mom of one of the kids that are training with you might be home stressed out, or finally getting a nap that they haven't gotten in a week that has been overdue, and you created that environment without them having to come to you and be like, Ricky, can you please take my son for an hour? I have 5 weeks worth of laundry and I can't get to it. You make it more welcoming, and I think it's amazing because you're freeing up these parents to give themselves that break, but also building their kids. So you're not just sending them to a glorified daycare and hey, I hope you're okay. I don't know what kids are there. Just I need the break.
Listen, it's funny you said that, 'cause I was on the phone with a few parents this week, and we're saying, hey, your son came out, your daughter came out, they had a great time. We want them to sign up to be part of the society. What parent's gonna say no? I'm not asking you for anything. I'm not saying, we just need a parent consent to say that they can be here. That's it. Oh yeah, my son wanted to have a good time playing basketball or doing whatever. Let him go and do it. So it's really rewarding. I tell people when what we're offering, our biggest thing is how much value can we offer. That's always my biggest thing. How much value can we offer, so where people feel as though, hey, we're getting everything we can get plus more. I've been that parent, and I don't want to knock any organization because everyone has their strengths, but I've been that parent where I had to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and have my sons in a gym because there's no other time during the day that is free for the kids to use the space, right? And they're going there before school. They're seeing their teachers and they're working out, and they're like, "What are you guys doing here before school?" And they're like, "Hey, they want to work out, right?" So we get them up early, let them work out, and it is. But then you try to go later in the day, and it's just chaos going on in there. And I'm just like, all right, this is good for whoever it's good for, but for my kid, he needs something a little more structured. He needs something where he can grow a little bit more. So if I have to create an environment for him to grow, then I'm going to take it on myself to create an environment for him to grow. And one last thing, I think it's very important that I mention this, right? So the whole diagram, and it's a diagram in my mind of the whole society and how we kind of mapped it out. I created that when I was in the corporate world. And I was working for an organization, and we were doing a lot of great work in Baltimore City, and it was building a workforce development plan. Right? And while I was there, we're so many families, so many friends, so many people that we were touching and building them up and different things of that nature. But to your point, and then I realized I wanted to bring it up, so many people are in survival mode. They don't have time like people blame a lot of the issues that are going on in these different areas off of people that are bad. Let's be real. Oh, they're not good people.
Yeah.
It's like, no, when don't know when your next meal is coming from, you don't know if your lights are going to be on, and your parents are not there to tell you, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go try to figure it out. I had a conversation with a young man this past week, and he's like, hey, my things are not going well. I don't know if financially what's going to happen in my family. I got to do something. Like I said, how old are you? I'm 14. I said, well, listen, I commend you for wanting to take on that on your shoulder, that burden on your shoulder, and go and do something. But let's have a conversation, because some of those responsibilities are not yours,
yeah,
right? And it's not saying that you blame someone else for it, but someone saying as a kid you can only do but so much. But you know where that leads. So now that leads, I got to make money for the family, so I'm going to find that very first person that comes to me and says, hey, I'm going to show you how to make money, and hands them a bag, and it's like, all right, cool, I can turn this around, and I'm going to go make some money for myself.
And you
Why?
fix,
because
you
I
fix
fixed
the
the
issue
problem.
that you think is
Exactly.
existing. Yep.
And then you do years and years after that, then the next thing you know, that kid is labeled bad because that kid ended up getting caught, right? Or does something to protect himself, and then now he's thrown into this whole juvenile system, and it's like now he's labeled because all he was trying to do was put food on the table.
Yep.
And it doesn't, and I'm not saying all this to condone different behaviors and like say, oh man, you should do it. But the root of the issue is, are we getting to it early enough and providing resources early enough so they don't have to go? And the resource can be as simple as having a conversation.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's kind of where the heart of and the haven that we're trying to create in our facility, and man, we're just hoping that it's blessed so many people in this area.
It wasn't until recently that I realized why I've been driven to youth initiatives. And I've always had I was like the neighborhood mom. So I played football in the field. I got Nerf gun donations, and we had that was always like my role, but it wasn't anything I thought I could take further. My last corporate job, I was fired in 2014. I worked at the federal courthouse downtown. I was a case manager for criminal cases, most of them being gang related. I was the contact person. Basically, no defendant is ever going to reach the judge, but they can reach me. So I was getting jail calls all the time, and I was managing their cases, and I'm calling and I'm looking, I pull up the case and I'm like, oh, you're facing 30, 40, life. And then I'll look at the date of birth. Like, I get that you're legally an adult, but you're not an adult. And you're even less of an adult because the actions that you had to start at 13, 14, 15, and you know nothing else. Those conversations broke my heart because the issue that I was having was it wasn't my job to comfort defendants. It was my job to manage the cases. And process the paperwork. My heart doesn't allow me just to blow someone off because at this point, a lot of them, their family's not answering the call. So they're just calling numbers to see who answers. Any update on my case? Any this? Man, I'm really trying. I'm in this program. And they just want someone to listen. So me being the listener, I'm like, I was doing it so I would get just a little bit of hash from like my department or my supervisor, and I was getting awards. And ended up getting fired. But it was, your heart's too big for this. And I'm like, what do you mean? How can your heart be too big for anything?
It's all a transaction.
And that's what made me realize where I was like, no, the vision boards is that avenue to open people up and see like, hey, there's benefits beyond. And if you can get out of today, you can think beyond next month, 6 months from now, a year from now. And it can be as crazy as you want, but you have to see it first. And a lot of the kids are seeing, man, mom's struggling. I want to help mom. How can I help mom? So they're coming at it with a good heart, good intentions, but not the knowledge isn't there. So it's whatever person gets to them first. So if it's you that says, hey, you know what? You're 14, legally you can work. If you get this work permit signed, I do need someone to help clean up in the gym. And then that's the difference between someone else saying, man, you make $100 tomorrow if you want to work with me. And they're like, it's just who gets to them first. And I think those conversations are important because that's what deters them. And that's what shows them, hey, there's multiple routes to take.
Yeah.
It's up to you to choose the route.
Yeah.
But at 13, 14, 15, you don't know what route.
You don't know.
You're not supposed to.
You don't know. You don't know. It's to your vision boards. I commend you on that, because saying something that I live by: without a vision, people perish. Right.
Yeah.
And it's write the vision, make it plain. Right. And I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that everything that's I'm seeing now in life somewhere was written down, and it's scary and exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you don't see it manifesting in the time frame that you want it to. So you're like, man, boy, I remember saying specific things and writing it down and saying, man, I wonder what it'd be like if I did this. And I'm sitting there now, oh my goodness, this is happening.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, oh my goodness, this is happening for this, but thinking about everything else that's on my list. I'm like, oh shoot, this is getting ready to happen.
Yeah.
But I would tell people this: you got to be the person you need to be in order to realize it. And sometimes that's a lot of cutting of your character, of who you are, a lot of learning that you need to go through, a lot of pain, a lot of growth, right? It's something that's not comfortable. Most times it's not comfortable.
No.
I don't say it's never comfortable. Let me be flat out. It's never comfortable, right? But it's for those people that are willing to say, you know what? If I really want this that bad, I'm willing to go through what I'm going through today. And that's where I am today in my life. I'm going through that refinement. I'm going through that cutting. And people see the glitz and glamour of all this stuff. Like, oh man. And I purposely make it big, because that's what you're supposed to,
Right.
try to do. Like, this is exciting. This is big. This is exciting. But at my greatest accomplishments I have in the past, I have so many other things on that list. Like, I struggle even having a good time in that great accomplishment.
Oh, no,
right?
it's hard.
It's like, oh man, let's pause for a second. Like, dude, at the grand opening, I just had surgery a couple days earlier on my back. So I'm walking around with my back all messed up. Everyone's excited. I'm excited.
And you're supposed to be in bed.
I'm supposed to be in bed, right? But even in my excitement, I'm like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to get this done, I need to get that done. The whole operation stuff, like all the stuff that needs to get done.
And no one else sees.
No one else
But
sees
it drives you crazy.
Exactly. And it's like, you don't feel like, sometimes you feel weird saying it, because you don't feel like you don't appreciate it. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
But that's when you start having that vision, and that vision just transcends what people see, right? And back to the whole success journey, I probably can't summarize it more than this. Success is in the journey, not the destination. Meaning, you're never going to get to a destination.
Nope.
And the one thing that me and Marlon learned from all the interviews that we've had was every last person that we would call successful, they're like, I'm just in process.
Yeah.
And so just taking that to our everyday life is just like, it humbles you, but also gives you that drive to say, you know what? I'm not going for a final destination. I'm just going to be in the moment that I'm in and give the moment everything that I have.
No, I work out in the mornings, and usually that's like when my thoughts come. And it was the other morning I was like, everybody's trying to move mountains instead of enjoying the climb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know what you're going to see on the climb, but if
Yes.
you move the mountain, you just lost everything.
Yeah.
So I think and that's why I love the name, and that's why I love the growth and where you're going with it, that it's not just a simple definition of, oh yeah, we're a sports gym and come use it. Like, there's so much more that you're giving. And then I always like to look at the ripple effect. So the same kids that are training in your facility, there's going to be kids, I'm sure, that are joining and being part of it that have nothing to do with sports.
Yeah. Yep.
They just are like, you know what? He makes this sound really good.
Yep.
He makes it seem like an environment that I want to be in.
Yeah.
So I'm coming to join. And then these same kids are going back to school. But their mental is different now.
Yeah.
They're noticing things that they didn't notice before. I don't know that I want to go over that side because they're doing this. I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
And then eventually people are going to be like, man, you acting different.
Yep.
But it can be flipped in a good way. So where sometimes I think kids get lost, where it's like, where you're acting different is a compliment.
Yeah.
Don't take it any other way. You should be acting different, because who you were last year, you don't want to be the same 7th grader you are when you get to 8th grade.
Yep.
So I think
exactly.
I think that's incredible. Another question I have is, how can people support the mission? How can people support the vision? I know you're in development. I know you have the space. You do open runs. You have trainings. But how can they, one, get their kids involved in Success Journey Sports, and then two, how can the community get behind you and help bring your vision to life a little bit faster?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thanks for asking that. So the biggest thing is, like I said, we're always offering as much value as we can. There's no gym organization that offers what we offer for kids for the price that we offer it for, and we're very intentional about that. And so how you can support, we ask you to support your kids. Like we ask yourself, like if it comes to the sports side, I've seen it in this county more than other places. It's families are excited about their kid just being part of the sport.
Yeah.
And it's really about what my kids did on the floor or on the field. But when you come out of this county, you start competing with the higher level teams, you see how far the big the gap is.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, you gotta ask yourself the question, right? And I'm a realist. Are you just okay with just your kid just running around and saying, hey, I play a sport? Or do you want them to actually compete at a high level and get something more out of that sport?
Yeah.
Right? And that's the question you got to ask yourself. So what we do to cultivate, and the thing that we cultivate in our gym, is we raise the elevation of competition. We raise the level of competition. We elevate it, right? And because we don't allow horse playing coming in, like I've seen in other gyms where they're going, they're shooting, throwing the ball around, and tossing it up, and just we don't do that stuff.
Yeah, it's a hangout place.
No, that's not what we do here. We come on and we compete. Well, why? Because we're not just competing with the guys here. We're competing with guys that are in the city. You're competing with guys that are in Delaware. You're competing with guys that are down there in Philly. You're competing with guys that are down in Virginia, where they're serious about this, right? And so once we raise that awareness, so you got to ask yourself as a parent, is this where you want your kid to be? And I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat and be like, we want everybody in the gym, because it's not for everybody to come into the gym. And not only do we compete on the field, but we compete in life. Like I know I've been in almost every corporate setting in my career, from being the person down in the print shop to cleaning floors in a gas station, all the way, and taking out garbage and cleaning bathrooms in a gas station, to sitting at the seat with presidents of the largest organizations in our state, right? So I've seen the whole gambit. I know what type of person you need to be at every single different level. So if you want your kid to excel, well, we're going to push them to excel. We're not going to have kids walking into the gym and they don't make eye contact with an individual. My son struggled with that. I'm like, no, we got to cut that stuff out, guys. Like, because you can't go in the corporate world and act that way. Yeah. You can't be a good employee acting that way, right? You're going to be responsible. When you come in, you're going to take care of the things that are in this space. And all along that, you're going to have fun.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not making it a militant thing, but it's just, we got to create an environment to where when they leave a better person every single time, right? So when you ask, well, how do you support? By all means, if that's what your vision is for your youth, and we focus on the elementary K through 12, and that's your vision, by the time they get done with high school, you're sending out someone that's leaving your house at 18-year-old that's going to be a upstanding citizen that's going to their college careers, and they're going to do amazing things in college and careers and their families and their community. That's where you want to bring your kids. Bring them to the Success Journey, sports and society, because that's what we're going to form them and shape them to be. So how you can support? Get a membership for your child. Membership can be done either way. We have from cost of just being a member of the gym to a training member of the gym, right? The training members, you work with one of our trainers. There's a member, you just come and you just have open access to utilize the gym. But then we also have the society. Society is the same thing. If you're a member, you can be part of the society, and that can be even covered for multiple ways. Some people have benefits, like when I go to the YMCA, when I was working at Johns Hopkins, I said, hey, I work at Johns Hopkins, and they gave me a huge discount because I work for Johns Hopkins. I said, well, we got to find some insurance companies that work with us so that we can give people discounts, and we found some insurance companies. So let us know if your insurance covers the cost. Man, it is free for you to come because of the benefit that you have in your insurance, right? So we try to find every way to get people in there. So there's no excuse for where you can come support the gym. Now, if you're a business and an organization out there are opportunities to sponsor, right? Okay. So you can sponsor And that sponsorships allows you to be visible within our gym and in our outreach, right? You can sponsor a young girl or a young boy that wants to be part of the gym, right? You can cover their expense for the year. All those things we have available. The best thing to do for foremost is just go to our website, successjourneysports.com, not the successjourneysports.com, right? Contact us through there, or go to our Instagram, Facebook, and shoot us a message. We're always on there, responding to messages, so we're very easy to find.
And if you have questions, schedule a tour.
Yes, and schedule a tour. I think I was sharing with you in green room. Like, I had one day like 5 tours back to back, and I love them. Like, we start talking about life, everything, and we just have a good time. So come schedule a tour, and if you want to come to one of our events that are coming up, we have a couple of things that open gyms that are going to be happening in November. We're going to be having some girl trainings, and I don't want to go even deeper into that because we learned that for the young ladies you got to specialize. That hey, we're gonna have it all girls and bring all the girls out, right? So we're gonna be doing a lot more of that in November. So we're really excited about the direction we're going in.
All right, I have one last question.
Yeah.
When it comes to legacy, what do you want to be known for?
Whew, that is a good question. Really, I would say it all boils down to my 3 boys, right? And my wife. I even mentioned my wife this whole time, Nicole. She works with youth as well every single day.
I was gonna say I was able to meet her at the Quickly camp.
Yes, she works with youth every single day, so I give my hat off to her because she's more in the trenches than I am. Applaud her for that. But when I talk about legacy, I think about my 3 boys. I think about the people that come in front of me, my father and my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents. The journey that they went through to create a pathway for us to be where I am. And I always tell them, I remember one Thanksgiving dinner, I stop and say, I wouldn't be where I am if you guys didn't go through what you guys went through, the struggles you went through. My mother gave me an example. She was one of the first buses down in North Carolina when they desegregated the schools. She was on one of the first buses that shipped across town to go to a primarily white school. And so they have those stories are intimate. For them, right? And they're real. They're not on a movie or a documentary, right? It's something they lived through, and just to know what they have gone through and the path they have. My father, man, he works tirelessly. Get ready to retire now, and he's done so much. But the biggest thing has been, how do I take what they have done and keep building it going forward, right? So my expectation for my boys, and the way I say that my boys is this: for so long, I think a lot of us have been trained to set up other people's tables. Right? And be the best person at their table, be properly mannered, and sit at, have the forks on this side, plate here, the cup there, make sure you have the napkin on your thing the right way at their table. But we don't often teach ourselves how to prepare our own tables, right? And not only do we not prepare ourselves to prepare our own tables, but then we don't teach our kids to eat at our own tables. We train them up, send them to school, they get educated, and they go work for somebody else. I'm killing that. I tell my boy, I said, listen, I have built 4 or 5 companies under this umbrella. Pick something that you're excited about.
And there's a million avenues.
And there's a million avenues in it. There's no limits as to what you can be excited about here, right? So I'm not telling you what pathway to do, but it's going to be somewhere within this vicinity. Why? Because we're building our table, and there's a lot of ups and downs in that from me taking on that. But at the same time, it's like my purpose is I'm not paying for all this education, and then you go and build someone else's table. Because at the end of the day, as much as not everyone can be an entrepreneur, not everyone can start your own business. I'm not saying that that's the case, but you got to understand, either you're building your table with the help of someone, or you're building someone else's table. At the end of the day, like, it's a capitalist society, right? Someone's eating a lot, and you're eating a little bit of what they give you, or you can try to go out there and hunt yourself and have a feast of your own, right? So, and make the impact that you want to make in the world. So when I think of legacy, my ultimate goal is just like, how do I leave something for my kids behind me, and then for their kids and my grandkids.
And it shows for them to live in their purpose.
Yes.
And I think that's important, where you can have a job that you love, you can have a job that you enjoy.
Absolutely.
But I've never found a job that really just like pulled at my heartstrings and allowed that.
Yes.
Where now I've built something to where I can allow my heart to lead the way.
Yes.
And I mean, it's a roller coaster, just like everything else.
Yeah.
But I really, really, really like that. And just the analogy of the table, where we are building a lot of people's tables and we're making them look pretty, pretty nice.
You get awards for it.
Yeah.
You get a nice plaque.
Yeah. And then you're excited. You know, the plaque, the recognition feels good. But imagine if we gave ourselves the same plaques we are awarded in the jobs that we've held.
At the end of the day, and if we're in a state in our world and in our society, and right now we're in the middle of a government shutdown.
Yeah.
It can't be more realistic than this. Like, hey, we're in a government shutdown. It's been however many days, and I haven't seen anything stop on the government side. Things are still going on.
No, it doesn't look like there's an end.
Yeah, exactly. And people are going to work and not getting paid for the government still. You know, and all those things. And I'm like, and there's a group of people that are still getting paid while everything's shut down. So that's a whole nother topic. But at the same time, it's like, if that doesn't really open your eyes and say, man, what am I doing for me?
Yeah.
Right? As much as people are excited about me being at their table and doing well for them, and they reward me by giving me some financial, incentives or plaques or whatever it may be, but like, what would it be like if I was able to do the same?
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to ask themselves that question, and that's okay. But those that are asking themselves that question, I encourage them to take it and run with it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate all the info. The app is amazing. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see it white labeled and it being used for multiple organizations all over.
Yes.
And I will drop all of your information in the description so they can reach you on your website.
Appreciate it.
Get you some tours in. I actually have to admit, I haven't been able to come yet. I know Kevin
your family's been there.
Yeah, I'm like, it really hasn't. I'm always busy, but I was like, I'm excited to come once I'm back in the country, check out the facility, and then just keeping the connection open. And I can't wait to see as it builds and as it grows how big you guys get.
We're gonna have one of the vision board sessions in there.
Yeah, I'd love to.
It's gonna happen. We'll schedule it out. But I really appreciate you having me. It's been a pleasure. It's always a great opportunity to talk with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And just share kind of the stories that we're journeying on in life, man. It's really uplifting, inspiring for me. So thank you for having this platform and having me join you today.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And thank you guys all for joining. All of the information will be in the description, and we will see you guys next time.